Hello everybody, welcome back to our CMA classes. So yes, we were doing PGBP chapter and let's resume it, okay? So in the last session we read about the actual cost. That was the last topic of ours, okay? So in this we are going to continue with actual cost, okay? So yes, we know how to compute actual cost, but for the different scenario it's going to be different actual cost, okay? So in this lecture, first of all we are going to find out what is going to be the actual cost for the different situation and scenarios, okay? So yes, with explanation first we are going to start. Here we are going to start it. The condition is, first explanation says, the scientific research asset used for building after it ceases to be used for scientific research, okay? Once for the scientific research any of the asset is used, okay, which is for, like, let's say that scientific research asset used for but business, okay, and it is ceased. Once it's ceased to be used for scientific research, what is going to be actual cost of that, okay, that asset? So the actual cost here is going to be reduced by deduction allowed under section 35 subsection 1 clause 4, okay? As we know, for the scientific research we get 100% deduction, right? In this case, so what is going to be the actual cost? Actual cost is going to be nil, remember? Okay, don't worry, we are going to read this thing also in section 35, so don't worry, okay? So everything we'll read, okay? But we know a little bit thing about this, ki we get a deduction under section 35, okay, which is related to scientific research. Itna yaad kar lo abhi, okay? Okay, so we take 100% deduction. So what is going to be the actual cost in this scenario? It's going to be nil. Okay, so let's read it, guys. I'll be quick, guys, so please na thoda sa upar niche kar lijiyega speed apne hisab se. Where an asset is used in business after it ceases to use for the scientific research related to that business and deduction has been made, okay, and has to be made under clause 2nd of subsection 1st of section 32. Respect of that asset, the actual cost of asset is to be SSC that shall be the actual cost of asset as reduced by the amount of deduction allowed under section clause 5th of subsection 1 of section 35 or under any corresponding provision of Indian Income Tax Act 1992 earlier की बात कर रहे हैं, ठीक है? So let me say it first thing, actual cost in this case, in this scenario is going to be nil because we already take the deduction, ठीक है, of this asset, ठीक है, for what? Scientific research under section 35. Now we are going for the other scenario explanation first thing, where in and you know what is going to be the actual cost here, okay? So here the scenario is about where the asset is converted or treated as capital asset, okay? Once this asset is converted, the inventory was actually converted, ठीक है, or treated as capital asset and it is used for the purpose of business or profession. So what is going to be actual cost? Fair market value ऐसा कुछ था क्या? हाँ, let's read out now. In this case, the actual cost is going to be fair market value of such inventory as on the date of conversion into the capital asset. Similar है, ये दोनों केस तो मुझे पता ही है ना? It was easy. Okay, so explanation 1 is says where the asset, the capital asset, refer to clause 6A of section 28 is used for the purpose of business or profession. The actual cost of such assets to the SSC shall be the fair market value which has been taken into account of the purpose of the said clause. Okay, it was easy. Let's go for the other explanation 2. Okay, where the condition is where the asset acquired by the way of gift or inheritance. So what is going to be the actual cost here? We know this also, okay? In this case, the actual cost to the previous owner, which is going to be reduced by the amount of depreciation allowed, which is going to be WDV value, okay? Written down value, okay? So if the asset is acquired by way of gift or inheritance, the actual cost is going to be the actual cost of previous owner and which is to be reduced by the depreciation. इतनी बात मुझे पता है, okay. So let's be quick, guys. Where an asset is acquired by the SSC by way of gift or inheritance, the actual cost of asset to the SSC shall be the actual cost to the previous owner and which is to be reduced by now, ठीक है, the amount of depreciation actually allowable under section act of corresponding provision of income tax, okay, and the amount of depreciation that would be allowable to the SSC for any assessment या commencement of जो भी है, ठीक है? So let me say it first thing. In this case, in case of previous owner, the actual cost is going to be what? The actual cost of previous, if it is by way of gift or as inheritance. The asset is by way of gift or inheritance we are talking here. Okay, so in this case it is going to be the actual cost of previous owner and which is to be reduced, okay, by the amount of depreciation. इतनी बात clear है ना? हाँ जी. Let's go for the explanation 3. Okay, where the second hand asset acquired at enhanced cost. Please note it. Where the second hand asset is acquired at enhanced cost to claim excessive depreciation. Once the SSE is going to claim the excessive depreciation, तो फिर क्या होएगा? Profit कम होएगा कि नहीं होएगा है? तो simple बात है. If the SSE is going to claim the depreciation at higher rate, at higher value, higher rate नहीं, rate तो एक ही लगेगा, ठीक है, on the higher value of the asset. For example, the value of asset, the actual value of asset is 100 lakh, ठीक है, and the SSE is going to claim depreciation on 200 lakh. ठीक है, so what is he going to do? He is claiming depreciation, the excessive depreciation to reduce the amount of profit. ठीक है, so in this case the actual cost is determined by somebody else. ठीक है, कौन? इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट. हाँ जी, कौन? इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट. actual cost is determined by AO with the previous approval of joint commissioner. तो इतनी बात समझ में आई. If the second hand asset is acquired, ठीक है, at enhanced cost, the cost of asset is increased, okay, and just the cost of asset is just increased, enhanced, just to claim the excessive depreciation. Okay, in this case the actual cost is determined by whom? By the assessing officer with the permission of joint commissioner. ठीक है, इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट छोड़ेगा नहीं रे बाबा. ठीक है जी, हाँ जी. So where before the date of acquisition by the SSE, the asset were at any time used by any other person for the purpose of his business or profession, and the assessing officer is satisfied by that the main purpose of transfer of such asset directly or indirectly to the SSE was the reduction of liability to income tax by claiming depreciation with reference to the enhanced cost, that the actual cost to the SSE shall be such amount as the assessing officer may, with the previous approval of the joint commissioner, determine having regard to all the circumstances for all the cases. इतनी बात समझ में आ गई ना? हाँ जी. Now let's go for the explanation 4, where the SSE has reacquired the asset which once belonged to him but transferred to any other person. Let me read this condition again. ठीक है, where the SSE, ठीक है, has reacquired the asset. ठीक है, for example, I am the SSE, okay, I am having one asset and I sold to somebody else. ठीक है, इतनी बात समझ में आ गई? हाँ. Now what happens? I reacquired that asset. Okay, now इतनी बात तक समझ में आ गई. Let's read it again. ठीक है, which ones belong to him. ठीक है, now what I have done, I have reacquired that asset. इतनी बात समझ में आ गई. ठीक है, him but transfer to any other person also. In this case the actual cost of asset is going to be WTV at the time of sale by the SSE, or the acquisition price, whichever is less. Okay, so first thing, if it is reacquired by me, ठीक है, by the SSE, okay, so in this case two situation is arise. ठीक है, first I have transferred the asset, okay, to any other person. Second, I have reacquired that asset. Okay, so in this case what is going to be actual cost? ठीक है, whichever is less. Income tax department is saying whichever is less. By what thing yaar? By what thing? If the WTB at the time of sale by SSE or acquisition price, whichever is less. So can I say the amount paid or the WTB which is to be reduced by depreciation at time of transfer, whichever is less, the amount whichever is less. First, amount transfer or the WTB to be reduced by depreciation amount, whichever is less, baba, whichever is less, the actual cost is going to be taken. Okay, in this case where the asset is reacquired, sold, फिर reacquisition happens. ठीक है, इतनी बात समझ में आ गई? हाँ जी. So explanation 4 says where any asset which has once belonged to SSE and had been used by him for the purpose of business or profession and thereafter ceases to be his property by reason of transfer otherwise, okay, is reacquired by him, the actual cost shall be the actual cost to him when he acquired the asset as reduced by what? Depreciation. The amount of depreciation actually allowed to him under this act. First, और द अमाउंट ऑफ डेप्रिसिएशन दैट वुड बी अलाउेबल अंडर सेक्शन अलाउेबल, सिंपल बात बोल रहे हैं कि डेप्रिसिएशन इज टू बी रिड्यूस, ठीक है, फ्रॉम WDV वाले में वैल्यू में से, ओके, और द एक्चुअल प्राइस ऑफ विच एसेट इज रीअक्वायर्ड बाय हिम whichever is less. सीधी बात मैं यहाँ पे हाईलाइट कर दूँ क्या, ठीक है, अमाउंट ऑफ डेप्रिसिएशन, ओके, तो सिंपल एक ही चीज़ बोल रहा है ना, अमाउंट ऑफ डेप्रिसिएशन और द एक्चुअल प्राइस ऑफ विच द एसेट इज रीअक्वायर्ड बाय हिम whichever is less. ओके, WDV में से डेप्रिसिएशन रिड्यूस कर दीजिए ना, या फिर दी एक्विजिशन के टाइम पे वट एवर दी अमाउंट पेड, ठीक है, इतनी बात समझ में आ गई ना. हाँ, दिस वॉज ऑल अबाउट दी एक्सप्लेनेशन 4. लेट्स गो फॉर 4A एक्सप्लेनेशन वेयर सेल एंड लीज बैक ट्रांजेक्शन हैपन्स, ठीक है, सेल एंड देन लीज बैक ट्रांजेक्शन हैपन्स. ओके, इन द अर्लियर सिचुएशन व्हाट हैपेंड, आई वाज द एसएससी, आई सोल्ड इट, ठीक है, टू सम एक्स पर्सन, ठीक है, एंड देन आई रीएक्वायर्ड द एसेट. ओके, इन दिस सिचुएशन आई सोल्ड इट टू समबडी, ठीक है, बट नाउ आई एम टेकिंग इट बैक ऑन लीज. So this is called lease, sale and lease back transaction. This is called sale and lease back transaction. इतनी बात समझ में आ गई ना, हाँ जी. So what about the actual cost here? The WDV of lessee at time of sale will be actual cost to the lessor. Let me say it again. WDV of whom? The lessee. Okay, the lessee. Okay, so in this case WDV of lessee at the time of sale will be the actual cost to whom? To the lessor. इतनी बात मुझे समझ में आ गई ना, हाँ जी. सो इन अर्लियर सिचुएशन क्या था कि आई सोल्ड इट, ठीक है, मैंने बेच दिया भैया, ठीक है, एंड देन आई acquired the asset, but in this stage in this situation the things are different. I sold it and I had taken the asset on lease, so this is called the sale and lease back transaction. And in this case what is going to be the actual cost? WDV of lessee at the time of sale will be the actual cost to the lessor, ठीक है. Okay, where before the date of acquisition by SSC thereafter refer to first mentioned person, the asset which, just a second, the asset were at any time used by any other person therein after referred to as second mentioned person, okay, for the purpose of his business or profession, and depreciation allowance has been claimed in respect of such asset in case of second mentioned person and such person acquired on lease, hire or otherwise asset from the first mentioned person. Then notwithstanding anything contained in explanation 3, the actual cost of transfer asset in case of first mentioned person shall be the same as WDV of the said asset at the time of transfer thereby the second mentioned person. Oh my god, इतना होच-पोच नहीं करने का, अच्छा ठीक है, सुनो, I'll tell you the difference, ठीक है. Let's go back and do the comparison of explanation 3 because they are saying about the explanation 3 वाला, ठीक है, where the second hand asset is acquired, with the second hand asset is acquired just to enhance the cost, ठीक है. So who is going to determine the actual cost here? The AO is going to determine the actual cost here, ठीक है, with the approval of whom? The joint commissioner. This is all about the explanation 3 saying, ठीक है. So what about the explanation 4? Okay, where the asset is sold and it is reacquired भैया, ठीक है, it is reacquired, ठीक है. So in this case the actual cost is going to be amount paid at time of transfer or WDV is to be reduced by depreciation whichever is lower, ठीक है. This is going to be actual cost. But in this case where the sale and lease back transaction happens, in this case दोबारा बताती हूँ, ठीक है. WDV of lessee is going to be taken here, ठीक है, by whom? By the lessor, ठीक है. Okay, so इतना होश-पोश नहीं करना. Explanation 3 is different, explanation 4 is different, explanation 4A is different. Okay, explanation 5 says where building previously the property of the SSC is now brought into use for the purpose of business of the SSC. Actually earlier it was for the personal use, the building was used for the personal use. Now the building is converted and it is used for the business and profession, ठीक है. So in this case the actual cost of building is to be reduced by the depreciation. अच्छा, so what is going to be depreciation? Because building पे तो I guess यहाँ पे for if once it is used for the personal purpose, ठीक है, so no depreciation would be allowed, right ना. So in this case depreciation amount would be the notional depreciation, ठीक है. So let me read it. Actual cost of depreciation as reduced by the actual cost of building as reduced by the depreciation at the time in force at the time of conversion So at the time in force, at the time of conversion, that would be allowed had the asset been used for the business purpose since the date of its acquisition. ठीक है, so the cost is going to be the notional depreciation, ठीक है, and depreciation rate is going to be taken on the date of conversion of that building to the business purpose वाला है ना, हाँ जी. So let's read it quickly guys. Where a building previously the property of the SSC is bought into use for the purpose of building or profession after 28 day of February 1946, the actual cost to the SSC shall be the actual cost of building to the SSC as reduced by the amount equal to the depreciation calculated at the rate in force on date that would be allowable had the building been used for the aforesaid purpose since the date of acquisition by the SSC. Okay, so let's go for the explanation 6, capital asset transfer by the holding company. अच्छा सुनो, for explanation 6, for explanation 7, 7a, ठीक है, these things are going to be same, ठीक है. So let me be very quick, it's easy, तो डरने का नहीं है. Where the capital asset is transferred by holding company to its subsidiary company or vice versa. If the capital asset is transferred by the holding company to the subsidiary company or subsidiary company to holding company, इतनी बात समझ में आ गई, हाँ जी. Satisfying condition prescribed under section 47(4) or 47(5). Okay, in this case actual cost is going to be cost to the transferee company, we know this, ठीक है, shall be the cost to the transferor company. ठीक है, so actual cost is going to be the cost which is transferred to transferee company by whom? By the transferor company. Okay, and had continued to hold the asset for his business purpose. ठीक है, so for this, if it is transferred by whom? By the holding company, so it should be the 100% subsidiary company. Conditions, there are some conditions, ठीक है. First condition is about this, ठीक है, 100% subsidiary होने का है. Second, subsidiary company should be the Indian company, then only you can do this, ठीक है, then only you can get this actual cost, ठीक है. Okay, where the WDV of holding is going to be WDV of subsidiary. What if it is transferred by subsidiary? Then WDV of subsidiary is going to be WDV of holding ना, हाँ जी, vice versa. So simple है, cost of transferee company shall be cost of transferor company, ठीक है, इतनी बात समझ में, ज़्यादा नहीं पढ़ने का यहाँ पे. Okay, so what about the case of this capital asset transfer by amalgamating company to amalgamated company? Same cost of amalgamated company is going to be the actual cost of whom? To be the cost of amalgamating company. Okay, but same conditions, 100% वाला हो, हाँ जी, and Indian company, हाँ जी, हाँ. And let's go for the last point where this says the transfer of capital asset in scheme of demerger by demerged company to the resulting company. Same बात बोल रहे हैं भाई, ठीक है. Cost to resulting company shall be the cost to the amalgamating company here and is continue to hold the asset for the business purpose. Simple बात है, ठीक है. Now we know this explanation 8, explanation 9 and explanation 10, but I'll be quick, थोड़ा सा पढ़ लेते हैं, ठीक है. Okay, so what is explanation 8 saying? For a removal of doubt, it is hereby declared that where the amount is paid or payable as interest, okay, in connection with acquisition of asset, so much such amount is relatable to any period after such asset is put to use shall not be included and shall be deemed never have been included the actual cost of asset. अच्छा ऐसा कुछ था क्या, where the interest of that asset is put to use, still put to use, ठीक है, is going to be actual cost. Okay, but what about after that? ठीक है, interest of that asset is going up to put to use is going to be included in the actual cost, we know. But what about the after thing? What happens? It is used after put, ठीक है, the remaining portion, I'm talking about the remaining part, ठीक है, that expenditure would be, that cost would be included as the revenue expenditure here, ठीक है, that would be termed as what? Revenue expenditure. Okay, so what about the CGST वाला part? कुछ याद है क्या? Excise duty कुछ ऐसा था क्या? हाँ, explanation 9 says that it is hereby declared that where the asset is for being acquired after 1st day of March 1994 by the SSC, the actual cost of asset shall be reduced by the amount of duty of excise or additional duty under custom, ठीक है. Okay, remember what I told you, custom duty wala, if the input credit is claimed, फिर नहीं मिलेगा कुछ, ठीक है. सो दिस इज व्हाट वी ऑलरेडी डिस्कस, ठीक है. इफ द इनपुट taken, then it's not going to be added in the actual cost, ठीक है. What about the subsidy, grant, reimbursement, ठीक है. If it is given by whom, the central government, the state government or any of the authority, ठीक है, it is to be reduced. इतनी बात तो मुझे पता ही है, ठीक है. Let's go for the explanation 11. An asset acquired outside India by a non-resident and subsequently brought to India and used for the purpose of his business and profession in India. The asset was actually outside India, ठीक है, and then it is bought into India for the use of business, ठीक है. So what is going to be the depreciation rate now? We don't know the depreciation rate for that asset, है ना. So we will take the notional depreciation in this case, ठीक है. Same thing is going to happen. Actual cost is reduced by the depreciation, ठीक है. That would have been allowed had the asset being used. If that asset is going to be, we will assume that ये वाला asset India में है, ठीक है, and we are going to apply impose the depreciation, ठीक है. We are going to reduce the depreciation amount and take the remaining amount as the actual cost, ठीक है, because the asset was not in the India, it was in the outside India, ठीक है, and we have imported, we have bought it, ठीक है, from outside India, ठीक है, to do the business. इतनी बात समझ में आ गई. हाँ जी. Let's go for the explanation 12. Capital asset acquired under a scheme for corporatization of recognized stock exchange in India approved by the SEBI. Cost of asset to such stock exchange had been no such corporatization would be included, ठीक है. Okay. Let's go for this part now. Actual cost, this is going to be the expression 13. Okay guys. Actual cost in case of capital asset on which deduction allowed under section 35 AD, simple है भैया, nil ले लेंगे. We know this, ठीक है. Where such capital assets transfer from specified business to the normal business now, ठीक है, of the assets, then the actual cost shall be actual cost less notional depreciation. Once it was used for the specified business, ठीक है, but as I told you, where this asset is transferred from specified business to normal business की बात कर रहे हैं, ठीक है. इफ इट इज ट्रांसफर फ्रॉम द स्पेसिफाइड बिजनेस टू नॉर्मल बिजनेस की बात कर रहे हैं, ठीक है. सो इन दिस केस वी आर गोइंग टू टेक द एक्चुअल कॉस्ट लेस नोशनल डेप्रिसिएशन, ठीक है. सो दिस इज व्हाट ऑल अबाउट द एक्सप्लेनेशन 13. लेट्स गो फॉर द डिडक्शन 33 AB नाउ. ओके. What is this deduction under section 33 AB? This is for 3 things, ठीक है. For tea, coffee, rubber, ठीक है. For tea, coffee, rubber, ठीक है. So हाँ, this section is saying that we as the SSC, ठीक है, is going to get the deduction, ठीक है, deduction of whichever is lower. Okay, what amount they are talking about? They are talking about the amount which is deposit in the special account or any of the deposit account by NABARD वाला, ठीक है. But first condition is all about this, ठीक है. But the second thing says about that the 40% of PGBP amount would be get as the deduction. Okay, either the SSC is going to get the deduction of the amount deposit, ठीक है, in a specified account or a deposit account by whom, by the NABARD. Okay, or the SSC is going to get the 40% of profit computed under the PGBP. Okay, but this is before making any deduction under this section. Okay, so we are not going to take this deduction वाला section 33 AB वाला section for sure, we know this, ठीक है. हाँ जी. And before setting up bought forward loss also under section 72, ठीक है. सो वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू टेक दीज 2 पार्ट्स. ओके ओके. सो इतनी बात मेरे को बहुत अच्छे से समझ में आ गई. बट व्हाट इज गोइंग टू द टाइम पीरियड, ठीक है. द टाइम पीरियड ऑफ डिपॉजिट ऑफ अमाउंट फॉर क्लेमिंग डिडक्शन अंडर सेक्शन 33 AB, द अमाउंट इज टू बी डिपॉजिट इन विच एवर इज अर्लियर अमंग द फॉलोइंग डेट्स, ठीक है. Before the completion of 6 months from the end of previous year, which means end of 6 month फ्रॉम द एंड ऑफ प्रीवियस ईयर, विच मीन 30th September बात कर रहे हैं क्या. हाँ ठीक है. और बिफोर द ड्यू डेट ऑफ फाइलिंग ऑफ रिटर्न अंडर सेक्शन 139 सबसेक्शन विच इज गोइंग टू बी 30 October, ठीक है. सो वी नो विच एवर इज अर्लियर अमंग देम. सेप्टेम्बर आता है ना पहले, फिर आता है ना अक्टूबर, या फिर अक्टूबर आता है पहले, है सेप्टेम्बर आता है, तो ठीक है. सो दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द टाइम पीरियड इज गोइंग टू बी आइदर 6 month फ्रॉम द एंड ऑफ प्रीवियस ईयर और फ्रॉम दैट रिटर्न वाला टाइम, ठीक है, 139 सबसेक्शन 1 वाला टाइम पीरियड की बात कर रहे हैं. ओके, सो लेट मी से विच एवर इज अर्लियर इज गोइंग टू बी 30th September. सो बाय 30th September दिस अमाउंट इज टू बी डिपॉजिट. ठीक है, द पीरियड ऑफ डिपॉजिट ऑफ अमाउंट फॉर क्लेमिंग इज गोइंग टू बी, दे आर सेइंग द अमाउंट ऑफ डिपॉजिट इज टू बी डन बाय दिस टाइम पीरियड. Okay, then only the SSC can get the deduction under section 33AB. Okay, now we know that there is business income and there is agriculture income. There is some specified percentage of the amount which is actually gained from this PGBP. ठीक है, if it is consist of agriculture income, if it consists of non-agriculture income and all, ठीक है, so we compute as sum of the percentage, we take it as sum of the percentage. ठीक है, so for T it's going to be 60%. ठीक है, 60% agriculture income, remaining 40% is going to be business income. ठीक है, so what about for the rubber? It's going to be 65%, and what about the remaining is going to be 35% is going to be business income. इतनी बात मुझे समझ में आ गई. Okay, so what about the coffee? They have specified 2 criteria. ठीक है, they have made 2 criteria. If it is grown and cure, if it is only grown and it is cured, ठीक है, then 75% would be the agriculture income, 25% is going to be business income. But what if it is grown, cured, roasted, grounded? Then rate is going to be 60 and 40. ठीक है, 60 is for the agriculture income, 40 is for the business income. इतनी बात मुझे समझ में आ गई. तो let me say, ठीक है, for T 60% is going to be agriculture, remaining 40% is the business income. ठीक है जी. For the coffee, if it is grown, cured and then roasted, then grounded, ठीक है, एक के साथ सब कुछ कर लिया तो कितना परसेंट? अगेन 60-40. If it is grown and cured, then 75-25. For the last, the rubber, it's going to be 65 and then 35. ठीक है, इतनी बात मुझे समझ में आ गई. With one example we'll get it properly. ठीक है, तो confuse मत हो अभी. ठीक है, मैं थोड़ी जल्दी बात कर रही हूँ पर अपने को समझ में आ जाएगा. So let me read it here. An SSC engaged in growing of manufacturing of tea, rubber, coffee in India is eligible to claim the deduction under section 33AB. इतनी बात समझ में आ गई. हाँ जी. According for claiming the deduction, the SSC is required to deposit the amount from earlier of the following specified account, or so either they have to deposit the amount in deposit any amount in special account maintained by National Bank, ठीक है, or deposit an amount in deposit account. So the SSC have to make he have to deposit the amount among these two. मतलब he can make क्या बोलते हैं इसको, deposit among any of these 2 accounts. ठीक है, if the deposit number 4 deposit is in a special account, let me highlight this. ठीक है, so either it should be in a special account or it should be in a deposit account. ठीक है, either it should be in a special account or it should be in a deposit account. ठीक है, but there is the time limit. As I told you, for claiming this, the time period was the earlier of the following date. ठीक है, बिफोर कंप्लीशन ऑफ 6 month ऑफ प्रीवियस ईयर, एंड ऑफ द प्रीवियस ईयर, 30th September की बात बोल रहे हैं. हाँ जी. सो और बिफोर द ड्यू डेट ऑफ फाइलिंग ऑफ इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न, 139 सबसेक्शन 1 की बात कर रहे हैं. हाँ जी. सो इट्स गोइंग टू बी फॉर द कंपनी 30th October, वी नो दिस. ठीक है, सो जो भी इनसे पहले आएंगी वो है 30th September. ठीक है, डोंट गो फॉर 30th October बिकॉज विच एवर इज अर्लियर एज दे आर सेइंग तो 30th September ही होएगा, है ना. हाँ जी. सो आई सेड व्हाट इज गोइंग टू द अमाउंट ऑफ डिडक्शन, द अमाउंट डिपॉजिट, first thing actual account in the special account or the deposit account, ठीक है, by NABARD. Okay, or the 40% of PGBP before claiming डिडक्शन अंडर दिस सेक्शन 33AB, और वो 72 वाला, ठीक है, सेट ऑफ से पहले वाला. ठीक है, ब्रॉड फॉरवर्ड लॉस की बात कर रहे हैं. ओके जी. नाउ वी नो द परसेंटेज business income and agriculture income for tea, coffee, rubber, 3 criteria. Remember, coffee का 2 criteria. Remember, हाँ जी. ठीक है. Okay. So let's go for some of the other points, important points. For claiming this deduction, the person have to get audited. ठीक है, accounts is to be get audited under section 44AB and audit report signed and verified by the auditor. इतनी बात समझ लेने का, ठीक है। अमाउंट में बी विड्रॉन ओनली फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ स्पेसिफाइड इन स्कीम ऑफ टी, कॉफी, रबर एंड बोर्ड, एंड इफ इट इज विड्रॉन और मिस यूटिलाइज्ड, ठीक है, देन द अमाउंट इज गोइंग टू बी एड बैक, ठीक है। क्वेश्चन करेंगे, अब नहीं डरने का, ठीक है जी, हाँ जी। बट इफ इट इज डन फॉर द क्लोजर ऑफ बिजनेस देन इट्स गोइंग टू बी टैक्सेबल, द फुल अमाउंट इज गोइंग टू बी टैक्सेबल। इफ द डिस्क्लोजर ऑफ फर्म हैपन्स इट्स गोइंग टू बी टैक्सेबल। डेथ ऑफ एसएससी में कोई लेना देना नहीं है ना, अपने हाथ में नहीं है ना, तो ठीक है, इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू बी टैक्सेबल, ठीक है। इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट इतने बुरे नहीं है अपने, है ना। ओके, सो व्हाट अबाउट द पार्टीशन ऑफ एचयूएफ, कोई बात नहीं, टैक्सेबल नहीं होएगा। व्हाट अबाउट द लिक्विडेशन, टैक्सेबल नहीं होएगा, ठीक है, हाँ जी। सो ओके, नाउ दीज पॉइंट्स आर सिमिलर, ठीक है, हमने कहीं ना कहीं पढ़ा था फॉर द एडिशनल डेप्रिसिएशन, ठीक है, हाँ जी। इफ प्लांट एंड मशीनरी इंस्टॉल इन ऑफिस, रेजिडेंस, गेस्ट हाउस, नो एडिशनल डेप्रिसिएशन मिलेगा ना, सेम थिंग दे आर सेइंग, ठीक है। फॉर क्लेमिंग द डिडक्शन अंडर सेक्शन 33A(b), द प्लांट एंड मशीनरी शुड नॉट इंस्टॉल इन दिस पार्ट आर नॉट, ठीक है, इन ऑफिस, रेजिडेंस और द गेस्ट हाउस, ठीक है। ऑफिस अप्लायंसेस की बात कर रहे हैं, ठीक है। प्लांट एंड मशीनरी वोल कॉस्ट ऑफ विच इज अलाउड इज डिडक्शन, ठीक है, सेकेंड हैंड मशीनरी नहीं होने का है ना, हाँ जी। देन सेज अबाउट द न्यू पॉइंट, न्यू प्लांट एंड मशीनरी इंस्टॉल्ड इन इंडस्ट्रियल अंडरटेकिंग, बिजनेस ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन और मैन्युफैक्चर ऑफ थिंग्स स्पेसिफाइड अंडर सेक्शन 11 schedule, ठीक है। 11 schedule is related to beer, tobacco and all, ठीक है। so they are saying if it is used for this 11 schedule purpose, ठीक है, then वो वाला पार्ट भी नहीं लेने का, ठीक है। so they are saying if the plant and machinery installed in industrial undertaking and the business of construction of manufacture is related to the 11th schedule, so you cannot take the deduction SSC under section 33AB, okay, हाँ जी। so let's be very quick guys, okay। so here X Limited is engaged in the business of growing, we are going for one question, जल्दी जल्दी करते हैं, ठीक है। Manufacturing in India for the previous year ending 31/3/2022, its composite business profit before allowing deduction under section 33AB are 60 lakh। इतनी बात समझ में आ गई, हाँ जी। इट्स डिपॉजिट अ सम ऑफ 11 lakh इन टी डिपॉजिट अकाउंट। Now what is going to happen, they have given me the business income, as I told you what is going to, we are going to get the deduction whichever is lower, ठीक है, whichever lower the, if the amount is deposit, ठीक है, in what special account or deposit account, first thing। second, 40% of the profit computed under PGBP, ठीक है। so as they have given me the 60 lakh, ठीक है, 60 lakh का 40%, ठीक है, which is going to be 24 lakh। now you have to tell me 24 lakh, either we are going to get the deduction of 24 lakh या फिर 11 lakh, as whichever is lower, I told you whichever is lower। so here 11 lakh which is deposit in the T development account, ठीक है। so we'll get a deduction of 11 lakh here, ठीक है, okay। so next they are saying X Limited had incurred a business loss, are we going to get the business loss, क्या सेट ऑफ होगा, कुछ होगा, हाँ जी होगा, क्यों नहीं होगा, ठीक है। एंड विच हैज़ बीन कैरी फॉरवर्ड, एंड द अदर पॉइंट सेज इट विड्रॉ ऑन 25/4/2023, इट विड्रॉ 10 lakh फ्रॉम द डिपॉजिट विच यूटिलाइज एस 6 lakh फॉर द पर्पज ऑफ नॉन डिप्रिशिएबल एसेट। आर वी गोइंग टू एड बैक दिस पार्ट, ना जी ना, ठीक है। एज दे आर सेइंग three thing, we so far we have read three thing, ठीक है। 60 lakh was the business income, ठीक है। we know either 40% of this business income will be taken as the deduction under section 33AB or the amount which is deposit in the deposit account, ठीक है। so we know what is going to be the deduction under section 33AB, इतना वाला पार्ट तो मुझे अच्छे से पता है, ठीक है। 11 lakh वाला पार्ट मुझे पता चल गया। now they already mentioned, they already said that कि business loss भी हुआ है, कितने का हुआ है, 14 lakh का हुआ है। are we going to get this, can we set off this, can we reduce this, yes for sure we can reduce this, ठीक है, bought forward loss, ठीक है। now the third point says it withdraw 10 lakh, ठीक है। so from this 10 lakh 6 lakh was purchased for non depreciable asset, so it is going to be allowed, yes, whether it the amount were used for depreciable asset or non depreciable asset, कोई problem नहीं है, ठीक है। now second thing, 3 lakh for the purchase machinery installed in office premises, as I told you, it is only going to be allowed for factory, not for the office premises। इतनी बात समझ में आ गई ना. सो आई विल नॉट गेट दी ये वाला पार्ट. ठीक है, डिडक्शन आई कैन नॉट टेक इट. सो दिस इज गोइंग टू बी एड बैक. ठीक है. सो व्हाट अबाउट द 1 lakh was spent for the purpose of scheme on 5/4/2023. This actually is used in the April. So how can I claim for the 30th March? If I want to claim it, it should be used before 31st March 2023. ठीक है, इतनी बात समझ में आ गई. ठीक है, सो डेफिनेटली दीज 2 points इज टू बी एड बैक. ओके, यू आर रिक्वायर्ड टू डिटरमाइन द बिजनेस इनकम ऑफ एक्स एंड द टैक्स कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज में अराइज. ठीक है, सो इतना पार्ट कर लेते हैं. दी सेकेंड पार्ट ऑल्सो. ठीक है, सो as per rule 8, before disintegration of business profit into agriculture income and non-agriculture income, the income is to be computed under the profit and gains from business and profession, which means beside other deduction, the deduction under section 33AB must have also be claimed. ठीक है, now we know 60 lakh was the profit. From this I have reduced the 11 lakh. Okay, so I'll get 49 lakh. Okay, from this 49 lakh, what I told you, this was the thing, the person was engaged in the manufacturing of tea, and I know the 60% is going to be agriculture income na. 60% is going to be agriculture income from this total business income. ठीक है, so 29,40,000 is going to be my business agriculture income. So agriculture income is going to be my business income. Non-agriculture income is going to be my business income, as they are asking us for the business income. Okay, if they specifically ask us about the agriculture income, तो agriculture income निकाल के देंगे ना. ठीक है, so now we have this brought forward loss. So do you think we are going to get the proportionate of this brought forward loss? No, we are going to take the full of brought forward loss. ये तो अपने को पता ही है. ठीक है, so 14 lakh is to be reduced. ठीक है, we'll get 5,60,000. इतनी बात समझ में आ गई. Now what about the misutilized amount? Misutilized amount, the amount withdrawn from the T which is misutilized, 3 lakh is to be add back again. ठीक है, amount withdrawn from the T development account but not actually used within that time period. ठीक है, 31st March तक नहीं यूज किया. ठीक है, this 1 lakh, these are add back. ठीक है, from this 4 lakh we are definitely going to take the percentage of business income and then the agriculture income. For the business income it's going to be 40%, for the agriculture it's going to be 60%. So for business it's going to be 1,60,000. इतनी बात समझ में आ गई. ठीक है, इतना ही था. There is one more point, second part, which what will be the consequence if the asset was purchased for 6 and sold for 8 lakh. सिंपल चीज पूछ रहे हैं यार. ठीक है, with the sale price is going to be 8 and from this we are going to reduce 6. ठीक है, तो विल गेट अ शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन. ओके, नाउ दिस थिंग इज टू बी नोटेड. ठीक है, सिंस द एसेट इज सोल्ड विद इन 8 year, द कॉस्ट ऑफ एसेट 6 lakh शुड बी द बिजनेस इनकम एज एंटायर कॉस्ट हैज बीन अलाउड एज डिडक्शन इन द पास्ट. बट आउट ऑफ 6 lakh, 60% of the agriculture income as a deduction under 33AB was disallowed before the disintegration, and balance 40% to like 40,000 will be business income under the head income from the business and profession. Okay, so you know what, there is one more point which is saying in this case of to claim the depreciation deduction under section 33AB, the SSC cannot sell the asset. ठीक है, for 8 years. ठीक है, the SSC can sold it out after 8 years. ठीक है, from claiming the deduction under section 33AB. ठीक है, so this point was all about this. If the SSC have already sold the asset before the time, before the 8 years, ठीक है, let's take it by 5 years, तो क्या होगा, the deduction allowed will be the business income now. ठीक है ना, इतनी बात we know. Okay, this is all about 33AB. Now the other sections is about this is going to last and it's the similar point. ठीक है, तो I'll be very quick. 33ABA which is saying about the site restoration fund, same thing बोल रहे हैं, same thing. ठीक है, where the amount deduction कैसे मिलेंगे, what is going to be amount, the special amount maintained with SBI or the site restoration account. ठीक है. So whichever is lower among them would be taken. Okay. So what is going to be the time limit? Time limit is not going to be that 6 month. ठीक है, नॉट गोइंग टू बी द रिटर्न वाला टाइम. ठीक है. सो दे आर सेइंग द अमाउंट शुड बी डिपॉजिट बिफोर द एंड ऑफ रिस्पेक्टिव प्रीवियस ईयर. So they are not talking about should be deposit before 6 months from the end of the previous year. Simple बात बोल रहे हैं, it should be deposit before the end of respective previous year, and the amount deposit can be withdrawn only for specified purpose. सीधी बात है. But in earlier case 40% of PGBP was allowed as deduction, but in this case 20% of PGBP is going to be allowed as deduction. इतनी बात है. ठीक है. So let's read what is this site restoration. The SSC carrying on business of prospecting, extraction or production of petroleum or the natural gas in India, depositing the amount in special account or restoration account is eligible to claim the deduction under section 33 ABA of the Income Tax Act. In order to claim the deduction under section 33 ABA, the SSC need to satisfy the following list of conditions. Number 4, SSC should be engaged in carrying of any of the following business: prospecting for the petroleum or natural gas in India, extraction of petroleum or natural gas in India, or the production of petroleum or natural gas in India. ठीक है. सो सिंपल बात है. डिडक्शन कौन से अमाउंट में मिलेगा? द अमाउंट इज डिपॉजिट इन द स्पेशल अकाउंट मेंटेन बाय दिस SBI, स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, और साइट रिस्टोरेशन अकाउंट विच इज लोअर, और 20%. इनमें से तो किसी में भी आप कर सकते हो. ठीक है. एंड इट इज टू बी कंपेयर्ड विथ व्हाट 20% ऑफ PGBP विच एवर इज लोअर. ठीक है. एंड द अमाउंट इज डिपॉजिट टू दिस अकाउंट before end of the previous year. Simple है. It was all about 33 ABA. So we have covered actual cost. ठीक है. And then 33 AB tea, coffee, rubber. ठीक है. Where we know what is the percentage of business. ठीक है. Business income and the agriculture income. Apart with that there are the डिपॉजिट अमाउंट क्या होना चाहिए, 40% कौन से में से मिलेगा. ठीक है. डिडक्शन ऑल. ठीक है. एंड दिस वॉज द साइट रिस्टोरेशन फंड 33 ABA. 20%, 40%. इतनी बात समझ में आ गई. हाँ जी. सो दिस वॉज ऑल अबाउट टुडेज क्लास गाइज. ठीक है. विल मीट इन योर नेक्स्ट वीडियो. तब तक के लिए क्या करना है, पढ़ते रहना है, मस्त रहना है. विल मीट इन नेक्स्ट वीडियो. टुडल्स स्टे ट्यून्ड, स्टे हेल्दी, अच्छे से रिवीजन करना. ओके. बाय गाइज.